let's dig into some defensive line news. Anything new happening in terms of guys Notre Dame is interested in the 2025 class?
Yeah. So in covering Marcus Freeman recruiting for the past few years since he's been the head coach, I've noticed this trend where in the fall Notre Dame adds new names to the board or goes after previous targets. It's like, okay, we kind of have a feel of where things are at with the class and what positions, we may need to add more guys at now that we've been through a couple of games and whatnot that maybe we weren't doing in the summer and spring, if that makes sense. So tight end's one of them. Notre Dame is wanting a second tight end in the class. Talked about Tiandre Waverly, took his official visit to Notre Dame this past weekend. That would be in addition to James Flanagan. Defensive line is another one, like another interior defensive lineman that Notre Dame is looking at adding in this 2025 recruiting class. Jalen Wiggins from Tallahassee, Florida is committed to the Florida Gators. Still has the Seminoles after him. Obviously, the Gators, two programs that are in, I don't want to call it shambles. I mean, disarray. Stanford is still in the mix. And, if you're talking about Stanford, it's like there's a check mark. Okay, great student. Stanford's in the mix, obviously. And then Notre Dame. So Notre Dame was in the mix for Wiggins back in May. And then Gordy Solstead from Cincinnati committed to the Irish. And then that kind of fizzled out with Wiggins from there. But it seems like Notre Dame is back in the Jalen Wiggins recruitment. And it's very possible that he officially visits Notre Dame for that Florida State game in November, which would be a really big deal. So that I don't know how much we'll be able to add between now and then. It's like, okay, Notre Dame is in the mix here. Let's see how that official visit goes before we write too much about Notre Dame being a top contender to flip Jalen Wiggins. But obviously, if he takes the visit, that's telling. Timothy Griffin is another one there. This recruitment is absolutely fascinating to me. I've been covering recruiting for a long time, and I still get, surprises and shocks just how recruiting can go. As of like late August, his offers, this is Timothy Griffin, again, from the Atlanta area, 6'5", 255-pound defensive lineman. He held offers from UMass, Alabama A&M, Western Kentucky, and Georgia State. September 2nd, Bama joins the list. Whoa. Then Notre Dame and Florida offered on the 20th of this month. And then Cincinnati offered him while he was on a visit there. Just, I mean, it just goes to show that recruiting, you just can blow up at really any point. Kind of wild. You go from, am I going to go to UMass? It's a UMass, Alabama A&M battle. And then, all right, Bama offers. It's like, kind of out of nowhere. So Griffin, expecting him to take an official visit to Notre Dame in October. So it does look like, whether it's like a Wiggins or a Griffin, maybe they expand the board for even more guys because there's no guarantee that they would get either of those. That's very possible. But those are the two names to keep an eye on Notre Dame's expanded D-line board as of right now.
We have a top 20 matchup at Notre Dame Stadium this weekend. The Irish 16th, 3-0 Louisville is number 15. Give me an idea. Is this going to be a big visitor weekend?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So this is Notre Dame's really got two marquee visit weekends this fall. You got Louisville and Florida State. And obviously Florida State is supposed to be the biggest of the biggest because it's Notre Dame and Florida State. Well, Florida State disarray, as you mentioned, Darren. But that will still be a big one. It's going to be the night game. And yeah, I mean, so many recruits got to come to the Louisville game because they can't really watch it on TV because of the old Peacock. I'm kidding. I don't really care about the Peacock thing. Everyone gets worked up. Anyways, I'm not. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole. Isaiah Mizell is one of Notre Dame's receiver targets. The Irish are looking to take a couple more receivers in the 2025 recruiting class. Isaiah Mizell from Orlando Boone High School in the Sunshine State is one to keep a close eye on. He's committed to Arizona. Got his offer from the Irish a couple weeks ago. And from what I'm being told, I think Notre Dame's got a pretty good shot to flip him. His parents were both track and field athletes at Florida. His older brother is a receiver for Florida right now. Gators haven't offered, that's obviously going to be something to watch. Like if the Gators offer Isaiah Mizell at whatever point, whether they have a new coaching staff, whatever the case may be, would be a program to watch. But for now, it's looking like a Notre Dame versus Arizona battle for Mizell, who's slight. He's listed at 6 foot, 160 pounds. Like, and I got to see him a few weeks ago. He's on the skinnier end, but he's someone who grew up playing soccer. And he didn't start playing football until his sophomore year of high school. And he's pretty much like, oh, my brother can do it. I'll give it a shot. He made the switch from football to, from football to football. And it's worked out pretty well for him. Committed to Arizona over Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Kansas State, a few others. And now Notre Dame is in the mix to flip him. Speedster, 10-4 kind of guy in the 100-meter. And raw. He's only been playing football a couple years, so some of the technical aspects of his game as a wide receiver need developing. But when I got to see him, he's quick, he is fast. So he's a developmental guy by Notre Dame. Looking like they're in a good spot for him. And then, as the last I heard, Madden Farimo from J. Sarah Catholic in Southern California, one of Notre Dame's few 2025 targets left on the board, a top 100 prospect in the country, a linebacker. Huge, absolutely huge for Notre Dame to get him on campus for this Louisville game. It's an unofficial visit. Notre Dame battling USC, Texas, and Washington. That's the final group. And I really believe it's going to end up being a battle between Notre Dame and USC at the end of this. And I think Notre Dame gets him. I've had a prediction in for the Irish to land Madden Farimo since the summer when he took his official visit. And I have no reason to believe that Notre Dame is still not the leader. That's not to say there haven't been points where I've been really nervous about USC or Texas or Washington. But right now, the vibe and talking to Notre Dame sources is that this could be for the win. If all goes as if all goes as planned, then I think that this visit could be the one that really pushes Notre Dame to the point of, getting Farimo on its commit list. I don't know what the timing would be, but yeah, Notre Dame is looking like it's surging right now for Madden Farimo, which is, great news for Fighting Irish fans, but it's not really news. It's just kind of a vibe at this point. We'll see what happens after this visit for the Louisville game.
All right. Give us a couple of more details how people can subscribe to blueandgold.com.
Go to blueandgold.com. If you're not a member, right at the top of your screen, it'll say, hey, sign up. It's hard to navigate a page without being hit with that sign up offer. So if you choose an annual subscription, use the promo code GOIRISH, all one word, 50% off your new annual subscription. That's billed at, I think, $4.99 a month. So you get all the insider recruiting intel, direct access to the Blue and Gold staff, where weekly Q&As, and people are always just posting threads we're commenting on. So all of our writers, myself, Kyle Kelly, Jack Sobel, Tyler Horka, and a community of thousands of Irish fans. So it's really the place to be, blueandgold.com. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you want a community to, maybe you live in a place where you don't have other Notre Dame fans near you. This is a great way to get connected with other Irish fans and, talk ball, get, all the insider access on the recruiting side of things, and read a lot of good articles from our staff. So blueandgold.com, definitely the place to be.